Allie, and I am excited to show you a design from one of our community members, Chris King, who created this Stormy Iris pattern. If you need any supplies, go ahead and look below the video and we'll be able to get you the supply links there right in there. Gather everything up and let's get started. So to begin this wonderful design by Chris King, one of our community members, we are going to be starting with some IrisDuos, some StormDuos, some SuperDuos, 11Os, and 15s that want to kind of escape from my mat. The first thing I did was put on some size 8 white dragon thread onto my size 11 threaded needle, and I'm adding in 3 of my SuperDuos with 11Os in between. After adding in the 3 SuperDuos, I want you to add 1, 2, and 3 of your 15Os. Go through the second hole of the SuperDuo, and once again add 15s between that second hole of the SuperDuo. We'll attach our clasp to this section as well once we finish up. From here, I want to get that little picot trim on the top as well, because these are our connector points, and you're adding 1 and 2 and 3 of your 15s, and then once again back down through that first side that you just did. I'm also going to reinforce going through that side of the seed beads, and we're going to exit our thread and needle, going up through the SuperDuo, catching up the 15s, up through the SuperDuo, 15s, and I want you to exit through your SuperDuo bead. These also are cute little earrings that you can make and put a wire guard and hang down from your huggy earrings as well. This is our connection point here, and we're going to be building the project basically from the outside in as we go along and create our StormDuo, IrisDuo sections. Post coming out of the SuperDuos, I want you to add 1 15, 2 11s, and then you're going to go through what is the top hole of your StormDuo bead. You can tell because it's almost like those 2 loops are facing in towards one another. You're going to start with the bump outside, going in towards the interior curve, adding an 11O, and then starting from the interior curve out towards the bump outside of the top one here. You're going to repeat those seed beads, adding in your 2 11s and a 15, and then we're going to sew through the bottom hole of that second StormDuo. But first, what we're going to do is mimic this on the other side here. So I want you to add your StormDuo, or your SuperDuo rather, your 15, SuperDuo, 15, SuperDuo. That's going to create basically your exterior line here. From here, you're going to add a 15, add 2 11O seed beads, 1 and 2, and then we're going to, excuse me, make those StormDuos touch on the opposite side as well. When we go through the first StormDuo along the bottom here, you want to go through that bigger or rounded side. Then you're going to pick up an 11O. Then we're going to go through the smaller side, or kind of that interior, and go towards the exterior of this StormDuo. We're going to add an 11 in a grouping of 2, followed by a 15, and we're going to go right back up to the top through those SuperDuo beads, through that second side. Kind of wiggle it through there, and that creates your connection to the interior. Once you have this connection done, and your seed beads in place, we're going to go back through some of those seed beads and get our IrisDuo in place in the center of the design. If you have a section where it's getting tight and your needle won't go through, sometimes you can usually just go in and you don't realize it, but what it's getting hung up on is usually it's hitting another bead in the exterior. So it's hitting that 15O side bead, and when it goes through, sometimes just a little wiggle or grabbing it with your pliers will pull that through, no problem. So basically here you can see you've got a fun design even if you're going towards the exterior. But we're going to take those bunny ears and move them in towards the interior, that one towards the interior as well, pulling these closer and making space for our IrisDuo to sit in the middle. To do so, go through that 15 on the side, go through the 11O. Along the top here, we are going to make a connection along the top. And to make our connection along the top here, I want you to do 2 more of your 11Os. After those 2 11Os, I want you to do 1, 2, and 3 15s, 2 more 11s, 1 and 2, and then you're going to come down the opposite side. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, and then we get to shift through our storm duos and get towards the interior. So along the opposite side here, you've got your 11s and your 2 11-0s, or your 15 and your 2 11-0s. Grab more of your 11-0s. Here. So it's kind of an inside-out project. 2 11s, followed by 1, 2, and 3 of your 15-0s, followed by 2 more 11s, and then you're going to go to the opposite side and sew down through those 2 11s. I want you to sew through the 2 11s and also through that 15-0 seed bead next to your super duos there. And then we're going to sew through the bottom hole of your storm duo bead that's closest. That pulls those in, you can see, nice and tight. Grab your Iris Duo facing upward, go through your next storm duo bead. Give a nice tight pull. As you do that here, you want to connect on to your seed beads at the bottom one more time. So we're going through the 15, the 11s, up the whole way, and we're going to come out our first one of our 15-0s that are at the top. When you're at the first one of the 15-0s at the top, grab 1, 2, and 3 more 15-0s. Go down through the bottom here. And what we're going to do is, after you grab that 11-0, you're going to go in towards the interior here. That finishes up that side. Go through the Iris Duo and out that one. Add your 1 and 2 11-0 seed beads. Go from the top hole to the bottom hole of that Iris Duo bead. See how that's in right there? 2 more seed beads. You can do 3 if you want. They get a little crowded there in the middle. Back through the Iris Duo again. Through the seed beads along the side, because we're decorating that side here. And then after you come through the 2 seed beads along the side, you're going to go through the Iris Duo towards the exterior, pick up the Storm Duo that's going to sit right next to it there, going through. When you're through the Storm Duo, catch on to your 15s and 11s like we did on the opposite side, going up towards the top and out through your first 15-0 seed bead along the top. Grab 3 more 15s, 1, 2, and 3. When you have those 3 15s then, you're coming out that top first 11, you're going to go into that bottom, or that last 11. Go ahead the whole way down along your seed beads. Come out before the last, or come out of the last seed bead before your Super Duo beads. Go on in and catch on to that Storm Duo and Iris Duo. And that, my friends, completes your first component. I know it's working backwards. If you didn't have a component, we're going to go over kind of how to go in and create these as an earring or independent. But what I need to do now is get back over to my Super Duos. So I'm going to go back through my Iris Duo, up through my Storm Duo, and as I exit through my Storm Duo, you can hop over and go through your Super Duo beads. Wiggle your needle and thread through those Super Duos and 15s. Usually it's not going to want to go the whole way at once, so wherever it wants to come out, bring out your needle. Continue on through your 15 Super Duos, and when we get through the top then, we're going to do our picot trim there. So as your bracelet is growing, you can see how gorgeous it looks. It also could be a great earring as well. I want to show you an alternative method for going in and creating as well too. Because you can go from the outside in, you can go from the inside out. I'm going to show you a way to basically build the top and then build the bottom as well. So if the first way you're like, oh, I'm on the outside and then I add the Iris Duo, here's another way. There's often with beading other ways to accomplish the exact same task. So I'm coming out of my SuperDuo stack here, and I put on my 2 15s followed by my 11, and then I'm going to go into the exterior curve towards the interior curve, put on my 11, go in from the interior curve towards the exterior curve of another SuperDuo, or sorry, StormDuo rather, On the opposite side, do your 2 11s, then your 1 15 to match. Go through the bottom hole of that same StormDuo that your thread is currently coming out of. And we're going to work on our IrisDuo, adding that in, and then going through the second hole of the first StormDuo. What this does is gets the top basically established. From here, take your needle and thread and go through the 11, or the 15 rather, and your 2 11s, and pull that tight towards the project. We're going to concentrate on just this top section of the StormDuos, adding in 2 more 11s, followed by 1, 2, 3 15s, 2 more 11s, and then we're going to sew down through the seed beads on the opposite StormDuo side. From here, go through the StormDuo, go through your next one of your IrisDuos, go through the StormDuo as well on the opposite side, and what we're going to do is we're going to build up the top. So to build up the top now, we're going to go up through the seed beads, and I want your needle and thread to eventually exit through the first 15-0 seed bead. Once you're through that first 15-0 seed bead, we're going to decorate the top with our extra 3 15s. Come down through the opposite side here, adding those 3 15s after skipping over that middle 15 like we did previously. Go down through the seed beads along this side, through the StormDuo, and through the IrisDuo, and exit. You're going to be towards the starting side of the IrisDuo here. Pick up 1 and 2 15s. So over to the opposite side of that same IrisDuo, going through the bottom hole. Add 2 more 15s. Go through the top hole of that same IrisDuo bead. That decorates the 2 seed beads along the side. From here, go through those 2 seed beads along the side where your thread is coming out. Go through your IrisDuo, and now we're going to add our StormDuos to sit at the bottom. To add your StormDuos that sit at the bottom, you want to go through the curved section first, then add 2 11s, followed by the 1 15. I'm sorry, we're at the bottom, opposite way. Take that off. And opposite pattern. The 15, because we're at the bottom of that StormDuo, and then the 2 11s. Go through the IrisDuo from the outer edge towards the inner curve. Add an 11. Pick up your next StormDuo from the inner curve towards the outer edge. Add 2 more 11s, followed by a 15, and then down the side of the StormDuo and through the IrisDuo that your thread was originally coming out of. You can see this decorates and basically gets that built. We're going to go through the StormDuo on the right hand side, and this is getting you the same exact look, just a different way to do it. Go through your seed beads, and then just like we did at the top, you're going through and you're going to add your 2 11s, your 3 15s, 2 more 11s, circling through the seed beads, and then circling around one more time through the StormDuo, through the IrisDuo, through the StormDuo, up along the seed beads along the top, and then when you get to the top, you're going to go through the seed beads, through all the 11s, and exit after the first 15. When you exit after the first 15, go ahead and put on your 3 more 15s. Skip over bead number 2 of the 15s there at the top. Sew through bead number 3 as well as the 11s and the 15. When you're exiting after doing that little picot trim style top, that's where we're going to connect to the SuperDuos from the previous unit. Go down here, catching on to the SuperDuo, the 15s between, and get your needle to exit after the last SuperDuo. Once they exit after the last SuperDuo, you're going to connect to the 15-0 and the 11-0s that sit on the top of the design. Going through the piece, I'm going to go up and around all of these seed beads and come out the 15 on the opposite side to put on my 3 SuperDuos and start the process again. Here along the edge then, I have my 3 SuperDuos. After the 15-0 along the side with 2 15s in between. At the top here, I'm going to go in, add 3 seed beads, go back through those SuperDuos to create my SuperDuo column here that sits in between. Add a 15 between each of the SuperDuos. At the top, add 1, 2, and 3 of your 15s. Come back down the left-hand side of the row of the SuperDuos, going through the 15s and all 3 SuperDuos. And then you're going to take your thread and needle and attach it to your beads here along the side. Once you go along the side, you want to get back to this stack here and exit through the stack of your SuperDuos to start your design. When you exit through that stack of SuperDuos and start your design again, it's up to you whether or not you want to choose to do the outside, working your way in towards the IrisDuo, or do the top and then the bottom and then connect to the outside. The fastest way to get back to your stack without having to go through a ton of beads is actually to go through the 15 and 2 11s, then go back through your StormDuo. Then I'm going to hide the thread in the StormDuo and reverse it. You can go the whole way along the project, along the outer edge too if you want, but I'm just going to go back through the StormDuo there, go back in to my beads along the edge, go back up through my SuperDuo stack, through the 15s of it, out through the SuperDuo as your final bead rather than the 15s, which is what it wants to do here. And then after you're out through the SuperDuo, see how mine wanted to go through the 15s? I know, it likes it there. Then you're just going to simply start over. It gets that nice attached look, and you can continue on with this beautiful Stormy Iris bracelet. It really is a gorgeous design, and I think it's going to be great in all the different colors that you post in our beading group for jewelry making on Facebook. Can't wait to see all of the different colors of this variety. I'm going to continue on with a couple more units before showing how we put on the clasp. Once your bracelet is long enough and you have enough of your units and components, we're going to attach to our clasp. Now I've taken this apart already. You are going to want to make sure that you connect to the correct side of these. And I'm going to connect to my tongue first of my clasp. I want you to bring your thread and needle so you're coming out of one of the SuperDuos before an 11-0 seed bead. We are going to connect right there, going up through one side of the tongue. Again, making sure that it's front facing. We are going to come down through the next 11-0, through the next SuperDuo, through the next 11-0, and then we're going to catch on to that loop. Going up through the loop there, and then through the next SuperDuo along the outer edge. Circle around then through your SuperDuo so that way you can repeat this 2 more times. If you want to, you can do a little cheat where you go through your SuperDuo, kind of circle around and come out there, but that's going to put your clasp right there on the edge. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'll show you how I end the thread off of this beautiful, beautiful design. Once you get finished attaching the clasp to the other side, I made a loop underneath the bridge thread connecting the beads. Sewed through that loop once and twice, pulled that thread nice and tight. Take your needle and thread then through the beads right next to it. You can sew certainly down deeper or further into the project. And then what I'm going to do is grab my thread burner, go in here, heat it up, and burn down that thread edge right along the end of the project, tucking it to the back so you don't even see it. Then your Stormy Iris bracelet is completed. It is gorgeous. Again, I can't wait to see all of those different colors that you guys produce, and make sure to share in our Facebook group. Thanks so much for joining me, and thanks again to Chris for this awesome and beautiful design. Remember, if you do need any supplies, go ahead and look below the video. In the description, we'll put a little link there. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Once again, thanks Chris, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.